party people, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. So today we are playing with a lot of supplies. I had a bit of a creative play yesterday morning, and then I made this really fun layout. Like, I set up the camera, made this really fun layout, then realized after I was finished filming that I actually wasn't filming it at all. But I had so much fun with the techniques that I used in the video that I decided to make a bonus page with similar techniques, different colors, different products, but similar techniques so you can see this. So today we are playing with a jelly plate. And I've used my jelly plate. I have jelly plates in every size. This is an 8x10. I have a 5x7. I have a bunch of mini ones. I love jelly plates, and I normally use them in my art journal. And I'm trying to figure out ways to introduce my mixed media and my art journal supplies into my scrapbooking. And I was doing some things with jelly plate printing in my art journal, and I wondered what would happen if I took the same techniques from my jelly plate printing in my art journal into my scrapbooking. So we're actually making background papers today, and I did the same thing in the layout that I shared on Instagram, that really pink page of Noah and I. That was the original layout that I made. That was my inspiration for this. Doing it again so you can kind of see the technique. But what you do is you start with a jelly plate. Obviously, you pick some colors that you think match. I did not come up with this color combination. Christina Warner, she's Star of May, or Christina Warner on YouTube. She is a wonderful card maker. She did this thing last year where she did a bunch of distress oxide ink combos, and I stole one from her. So this is wild honey, spice marmalade, and seedless preserves, which purples and yellows and oranges are not colors that I think go together, but I think they actually come out really, really nicely on this. And so I put the colors on my jelly plate, and then I go ahead and I put a stencil on it. And now this stencil was from Heidi Swap. It is a pack of paper stencils, and you'll see that I actually ended up coloring the stencil and stashing that for later. So now I have an extra stencil, like a bonus project that I could use for another page. So all you do is you pop the inks onto the jelly plate. You go ahead with a brayer. I like to use a large brayer for this, so I have a 4-inch brayer. You smooth the colors out from light to dark. You pop your paper on it, and there you go. And then for bonus, if you remove the stencil and then do printing again, then you end up with 2 backgrounds for the price of 1, which is how I ended up with my 2 backgrounds. So I popped those away for later, and now I'm going to work with building some embellishments. So this stamp set you've seen me use before. This is the Adore You stamp set from Altenew. Everything I use, I will, of course, link in the description box. So if you're interested in anything I use, pop over there first. And then if you can't find it, then please let me know. I've tried to be really thorough about my links. But if I miss something, then by all means, let me know. So I put all the stamps in the window of my MISTI. And then I use some VersaFine black ink to stamp those flowers. And I stamped them twice because the first impression wasn't the greatest. But I stamped them twice. And by the second time, I got a really, really good impression. And the Adore You stamps come with the coordinating dies. So I just took a few minutes to use some washi tape and the dies to position the dies over the stamped image, and then I'm going to run those through my die cut machine. So this Traveler's Notebook page took about an hour because I do a lot of things on this layout. Normally, Traveler's Notebook layouts can be like really quick, low-key things that you can throw together in 15 minutes. That is not what this is. But a lot of the techniques I used here, you can adapt to larger 12x12 pages, or even if you want to include them in your mixed media, you can do the same thing. So I went ahead, put all of those dies and the stamped images and ran it through my Big Shot machine. This is just a Sizzix Big Shot. Mine is the vintage edition, which is why it's this funky brown color. But it's just a normal Big Shot, but any die cutting machine will do the same thing. And then I went in and die cut them, and you'll see that it pops out smoothly. And I just cut mine on some 65-pound cardstock that I got from Michaels. Any generic cardstock will do. It's stamped really nicely, and it die cut smoothly. So you'll see there's my flower. And I'm going to go ahead, pop all those die cut flowers out, put my dies away. I keep my dies stored on a magnetic sheet in the original packaging. I find that it helps to keep the stamps and the dies together, and it's in a Ali Edwards envelope because I've been using it for One Little Word, so it's kind of hanging out with my One Little Word supplies. So now I go ahead and I stamp a journaling card, and I'm using these Kerry Bradford Studio thick and thin stamps. I don't think these are on sale right now. These were part of the February release, but they sold out super fast, and I'm not sure if she's doing a restock. So if she is, I will tag them in the description box so you can go ahead and purchase them if you're interested. I love Kerry stamps. They are amazing quality, and her alphabet designs are always so much fun. And this stamp set's really fun because it has the thinner design coupled with the thicker one. So you can do a mix and a match. And so what I decided to do is stamp most of my title in black VersaFine. And then I wanted to use orange ink to stamp the word happy, because the title is "This is my happy place." And I was going to use the Distress Oxides to stamp, but then I just figured I'd use my Ali Edwards ink instead. So I pulled out Tillamook, which is the orange, to stamp out the word happy. And I probably should tell you what I'm documenting. I'm documenting a picture of Minerva on my desk chair in my scrap area. For the life of me, I cannot figure out how to keep that cat out of my scrap area. I had literally sprayed Minerva in the face with water while she was sitting on my chair, and she blinks at me and goes back to sleep. Like, she's just so unruffled. And so every day I come home, without fail, this cat is in my chair. If I push the chair in under the table, she's sleeping on the chair. If I put things on it, she will throw them off and sleep anyway. I've given up, so Minerva and I share my desk chair. And so it's my happy place, and it's her happy place as well. And so it's just a cute little story that I wanted to document. And the journaling says, pretty much without fail, I cannot get Minerva out of my craft area. She must get it from her mama. Really small. I just wrote 2 sentences about the photo, but I really just wanted to document this picture of Minnie in my desk chair, because I came home, she was in the chair, and she's just looking at me like, "Why are you bothering me, human?" Which is how she looks at me all the time. Like, when she's misbehaving, she looks at me like I'm the bad one. So I just took a Stabilo gray pen, did some journaling. I like to journal in gray versus black on my traveler's notebook layouts. That's just a personal choice. And then I go ahead and set up my layout. So you see I have the side with the photo, which is the first printing I did with the stencil still on the Gelli plate. So you get the image, you get the colors around the image, so they're super saturated, and then you get the color coming through some of the less detailed portions of the stencil. So you can see the color coming in through some of the leaves and in some places on the flowers. And then on the second side, since it's the second print, the colors are less saturated, but then you get all the detail in the stencil. And I like the contrast of the two pages together. It is a really fun way to use your Gelli plate twice without having to add extra ink. Also, Gelli plates are really fun for ink blending, and they take like a third of the ink that it takes to do ink blending with a brush. All you have to do is pop some ink onto your Gelli plate, use a brayer, and smooth it out. And if you want to use this for like a card front or like a smaller base, like the Traveler's Notebook pages are about 4.5 by 8.5, so it's a pretty large size, so you do need a larger Gelli plate. But you could do this for like card fronts, or even if you wanted to just make your own journal cards. I think that might be what I do next, is make some journal cards and do some stamping, and then just have some journal cards in my stash ready for use. So I highly recommend that you give this technique a try if you have the Gelli plate in your stash. So many of us have supplies sitting around that we're just not using, and I wanted to do something fun to start using up the stuff that's just been hanging around. I've had my Gelli plate forever, and like I said, I only use it in my art journal, and I'm trying to figure out ways to adapt it so I can use it in other places. And this is a really easy technique. I've also used my Gelli plate to do ink smushing. So if you have the mini ones, those are great for ink smushing. Just so many fun things you can do with it. So on camera, I'm just arranging my photo clusters. I grabbed all those black and white flowers, arranged them around my photo and my stamped card. And I stamped my flowers in black and white because I had so much color on the background. I thought it'd be a really fun contrast if it stood out against all that color. And then I just wanted to repeat the flowers that are on my stencils and in my background. So now I'm working on the transparent part, because this is a pocket page notebook. I probably should have said that sooner, but I'm working in my pocket page notebook. And so for the transparent bit, first I thought I would just put the second side of my spread in the pocket and just do a full pocket, like a normal traveler's notebook spread. But I really wanted to take advantage of actually having the pocket page and having that clear bit. So I grabbed a bit of acetate, cut it down to the dimensions of the page, and I'm going to add a second title that just says "Love You." These are some thickers that I had in my stash. They were from the Pebbles Girl Squad line. I don't know if that's even still on sale anymore. I will check if it is, and if it is, I will of course link it in the description box. But I just loved the font on them, and they say things like "celebrate" and hashtag and Girl Squad and awesome. And so I just grabbed the thicker sentiment that says "Love You," and added a hashtag, and that is my second title. And since I put it on the acetate, when you put it in the pocket of the pocket page notebook, you can see it from both sides, and then you have that transparent bit, so you can see through, like when you flip it, you can see through it on both sides, and then you still have that fun scripty title. And then I go ahead and I grab my enamel dot stash because I want to add some enamel dots to just repeat the colors and to add a little bit of texture. I have popped a lot of things up on foam on this layout, which in hindsight is probably not the smartest thing to do when you're working in the finite space of a traveler's notebook, but I can't help myself. I love dimension. So I added a few bits of foam, and then I go ahead and I add some enamel dots. So first I add some hearts on that Love You transparent bit, and I add the hearts to both sides so that when you flip it, you see the hearts on both sides and you don't see just the adhesive on the back of the heart on the front side. And then I grab some circles. I have no idea where any of my enamel dots are from because typically as soon as I open it, I throw the package away and I just have a pile of enamel dots in the corner. But I used yellow, purple, and orange, just repeating the colors in my background. And then I go hunting for some Tim Holtz Chit Chat stickers. These are my favorite for just adding a quick sentiment somewhere on a layout. Like if you just want to add a tiny bit of text and you don't know what to use, I love these. They're white and black text or black and white text. And you can get the ones that have like sentiments, like these are the small talk, so they're a full sentiment, or you can get the ones that are just individual words that are just disconnected, and those are chit chat, and you can use those to make sentences. And I love those. So I grabbed 3 of them. I put one on my transparent acetate piece on both sides for same thing. So when you flip it, you don't just have the adhesive on the back side. And then I put one on the photo of Minerva and one on the stamp side, and I call this layout done. So I use some score tape to stick it into my pocket page notebook. I find that the score tape holds up the longest. Also with the score tape, you can like stick down the inside and then go ahead and add some more tape to stick down the outside. And I call this layout done, you guys. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you learned something. I hope you're encouraged to experiment with your Gelli plate if you've never done that before. Again, I will link everything I use in the description box if you're interested in giving this technique a try. And that is all I have for you guys today. So please give me a like, comment, and subscribe if you're so inclined, if you enjoyed this video. If you're going to experiment with some mixed media supplies, please let me know in the comments if there's something you want to see with the Gelli plate or more techniques. Also let me know because I have some video ideas down the pipeline. So if there's ever anything you want to see, by all means, let me know in the comments. So next time, you guys, keep it crafty and have the best day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!